On the Burning Archive Substack this week, I'm looking at the TV historical drama, crime fiction, thriller, Babylon Berlin, now in its 4th season and screening on SBS in Australia, free streaming if you're in Australia, and on other services around the world. A 5th season, apparently, is going to be filmed later this year, and it's an absolutely fantastic show. You're interested in history, I'm sure. If you're listening to the Burning Archive, you're interested in history. And Babylon Berlin is an absolutely brilliant way to get an insight, I think, into modern history, not just German history, modern world history, because Berlin, Germany, was absolutely at the centre of the modern world in the early part of the 20th century, and of modernism, the sort of change in sensibility and culture that happened in the 20th century. And this makes Babylon Berlin fascinating. You know, I kind of went to my local library recently just to sort of check out what are the books on German history. And there's 2 shelves of books on you-know-who and that period in German history between 1932 and 1945. But there's almost nothing on anything else. And that is a tragedy, because it makes one forget how crucial Germany was to world history, to modern cultural history, and not all in a bad way. Einstein's in Berlin in the 1920s. There's the birth of modern cinema, there's the birth of modern cabaret, there's the birth of modern forensic science, which is sort of shown in Babylon Berlin. All sorts of arts, sensibilities, political movements, social movements are born in this time. There's a lot more to German history during the Weimar Republic than just the approach of the doomed scenario that we all know is going to happen. And Babylon Berlin absolutely does not shy away with dealing with the catastrophe that we know happens in German history at that time. But it also shows you the other possibilities, and that is what I think makes this show so fascinating, and why I write about it in my Substack this week at the Burning Archive Substack, jeffrich.substack.com, because I think it's a great example of how historical fiction, whether on film, novels, writing, or on television drama, can actually immerse you in a sensory way in a historical period, see the costumes, see the buildings afresh, see the way people interacted with each other in a deeper way than just by reading a book, a more impactful way than just by reading an academic book. But it can also make you think about the stories you tell about history. And in a way, I think German history in the 20th century has, for understandable reasons, been locked inside the German question of, why they did what. I'm being a bit coy about it because I'm told on YouTube if you say certain words, you sort of, it affects your channel's performance. So it's all been a little bit locked inside that question, and it's also been written a little bit like history written by the victors, history written by the British and the Americans. Babylon Berlin's produced, written by Germans and in German language. And it, I think, gives a fresh perspective, not a perfect perspective, but a fresh perspective to really rethink this fascinating aspect of German history. And what's more, you'll get to see Brian Ferry, some wonderful songs, some fabulous performances, and enjoy a really brilliantly realised historical drama on film or on television. Great costumes, all sorts of wonderful stuff. And if you want to explore some of the deeper history behind it, check out my Substack this week, jeffrich.substack.com, and you can read my article. And I think if you'd like me to do another video on YouTube about Babylon Berlin, because it is a great piece of historical fiction, or indeed other historical fiction or films that you're interested in, leave me a comment below, and I will see you again in a video soon.